Up against Team Storm, and they're not called Thunderstorm, Boogie. They're not
I
Thunderstorm.
I don't care. Thunderstorm works so much better for all the puns I'm going to pull out this game, and I personally think Thunderstorm sounds so much cooler than The Storm.
Oh, shocking, shocking, really shocking. But
Oh,
we're
you
into,
shocking.
we're into ban phase, and Renekton Vi, Lulu Ziggs,
Quick bad
Elise.
phase.
Yeah, quick ban phase, but both those considered top tier junglers gone already because of their mobility. But Lulu also being banned away this game.
Yeah, interestingly enough, we haven't seen Lulu mid yet. This is the first Lulu ban I've seen so far, and she hasn't been played mid yet. Obviously a very strong Flavor of the Month champion, but already dying off at the end of her month. But obviously we've seen very decisive games won by Renekton's in the top lane, so it makes sense that if they're not going to pick them, they're going to ban them out.
Actually, I think
Whereas
2 games so far, Renekton's won both.
yes, Renekton's been in both teams and has quite decisively won his top lane. So obviously they've got no intention of playing Renekton in this top lane for AGL. So they're, instead of letting Aetherus have him like they let him have in the first game, they're just going to ban it straight away from him and force him onto something else.
Absolutely. Thresh is going to be that first pickup. Draven was actually the final ban to come down from Team Storm, and could be a targeted ban directly at somebody from AGL Inferno.
Yeah, definitely could be a target ban. I've personally never seen AGL Nada play for myself, but you know it's quite possible that Draven is a target ban. Obviously not a highly contested AD carry at the moment, but still quite strong, especially towards late game. We obviously saw Elise and Ziggs as well banned out. Elise obviously banned out because she's just so kit heavy in jungle, and Ziggs banned out because of his siege potential in the mid lane. Obviously we're seeing soft locks on Wukong. Again, both games have had a Wukong. We obviously saw T-Storm with Wukong in their first game, and Sangsty did so well on that Wukong in the first game, that it's quite not surprising that he's going to bring it out for our second game we're going to see of him.
Absolutely locked in beside that one. Currently on Aetherus, but that will probably be shifted down to Eddie. Could be played in the top lane, but probably not in that jungle with that Wukong picked up. But it is that Gragas, and he has been slightly nerfed recently, and you want to take us over that one, Boogie?
Yeah, what that nerf was, it was to do with a lot of his burst potential and his tank. The way it would go in mid lane is he would just farm incessantly, just completely farm heavy, get a lot of gold items, get a lot of AP under his belt, and then he'd walk back into lane, and then he'd completely burst someone. Walk back, come back, farm up, walk back into lane, have their enemy walk back into lane, burst some more, farm up some more, burst some more. And what he was doing was he didn't have any real strong... Oh, Skarner!
Skarner has been locked in. Now, I have not seen Skarner played, locked in, done anything, any time in the last year and a half.
6 months. 6 months, year and a half, yeah.
Wow.
I know he got reworked recently, but to my understanding, he still wasn't as strong as they would have liked him to be. He was still quite weak in terms of his jungle compared to a lot of other junglers. In fact, excuse me. Oh, there's the second one. He's actually getting further buffs in the upcoming patch because they still don't feel he's quite in a strong position. So this is interesting. I'm curious to see how this is going to go. But anyway, we've obviously seen Akali locked in for the mid lane, maybe as a potential counter to Gragas. I'm not sure what we're going to see here. I'm really not sure what Eddie's going with. Morgana's locked in, so we're obviously going to see Willer's demand on support Morgana. Still could actually potentially be mid lane Morgana. I used to play that quite a lot, and it is very strong. She hasn't received any nerfs, so it's still as strong as it used to be. And it's quite solid against melee melee mid laners like Akali, who have to try to get in range. You can just lock them down, soil under them, and then walk away, or you can, Dark Black Shield, and then ult Zhonya's, and you should be right. Wow. Lucian got through this time, though.
Yeah,
You're still dumbfounded by that Skarner pick, aren't you?
I can't believe, especially when you say over on the other team that Storm have picked up for Lapras is going to be that Sivir.
Yes, definitely. Siva picked again for Lapras. Definitely doing quite a lot of work in that first game we saw from them, and very impressive plays. They didn't go for Thresh obviously this time because they Resolve picked up Thresh for AGL over them getting it in on T-Storm. Uh, okay, now I'm really not sure. All these mid laners are really screwing me over. Obviously, we've got Gragas, Vladimir, both
Vlad,
can
that's
top
locked in
lane.
as
Both
well. Vlad has been locked in, so we're going to
Okay,
see
so it's going to be
Skarner.
Gragas. There we go.
Yeah.
Purple team, we're going to see T-Storm Aetherus on Gragas top lane. We're going to see No,
No? No. Eddie's going
come
to be
on,
playing
guys.
that in the mid lane. Because
Get it together,
otherwise,
guys.
the reason why is otherwise you just give Akali a free farm lane. She gets 6 too easily, and she
Yes,
provides too much pressure. So
that is true.
Gragas in there is really nice to play against Akali. He, with obviously explosive cast and body slam, he has a lot of mobility to get away from her or get back on top of her, whichever is needed.
I actually really like this Vladimir pick, purely for the fact that Vladimir doesn't really build a lot of armor or magic resist. He builds a lot more heavily into uh, health and AP. So Trundle's Subjugate isn't really going to be doing too much in terms of that. It's definitely going to make him weaker, but he's not going to gain as much from it either,
Also,
in terms of magic resistant armor.
Also, let's talk about the AoE composition coming out from Storm. They've got Vladimir, they've got Wukong, they've also got that Gragas, and they've got that Morgana as well, and then Sivir to just speed everyone up and make sure everyone is glued to their targets between Morgana ult and obviously also onto that Vladimir as well.
Yeah, definitely. Vladimir is definitely going to be looking to chase in, obviously taking Ghost over Ghost and Ignite over Flash and Ignite. So we're definitely going to see some very heavy chases from T-Storm. And it worked really well for them last game, especially when we saw T-Storm Lapras, our fresh prince, with On the Hunt. Like, there was so many times where he would just pop on the hunt, and if it wasn't him getting the kill, it was someone on his team racing in to get the kill, and it worked really well for them. It allowed them to get ahead, allowed them to shut people down, allowed them to take objectives, rotate around, really do everything they needed to do to get some serious map control. And I feel like that's what AGL really need to do, is to play safe. They need to force T-Storm to not so much chase, but back off and retreat really heavily.
Absolutely, and well, T-Storm can do a lot with that composition. They can hard engage, they can disengage, but like, what is the composition coming out from AGL Inferno going to be doing up against their opponents?
Okay, so I haven't played much Skarner at all. I did have a look at his kit during his rework. They moved his slow from, I think it was his W to his E, and they removed his movement speed steroid. I think it was on his passive. So what we're gonna see is maybe some potential ganks towards level 6. I don't think we'll see too much in terms of it early on. But I feel like we're going to see, again, top lane just be a straight-up island. Trundle's going to try to get some poke on to Aetherus, but I think it's just going to be a bit of a backwards and forwards one. Aetherus obviously taking the Ignite to counteract some of that regen from Subjugate on Resolve. And 80's obviously looking to do some work against this Akali, trying to pick up some of those, stop him from diving in on him with the explosive cask. Pretty standard bot lanes in terms of it. Obviously, Lucian and Thresh. Quite an ironic lane. It's my favorite lane because it just synergizes so well for what it is. And if you're a big lore person like me, it's just so stupid to see, like, Thresh and Lucian working together in terms of the Rift. But
Absolutely.
pretty standard bot lanes, as I said.
Yeah, let's talk this Gragas versus obviously the Skarner.
Yeah, I really like this Gragas versus Skarner. Gragas post 6 has a lot of difficult gank potential. It makes it really hard to gank him as long as that explosive cask is up. You really need to do 2 runs at it. You really need to walk in, get him to pop that explosive cask, then walk out, and then walk back in again when he doesn't have explosive cask. Because the only thing he's got is body slam as an escape, and sometimes it's not enough. Body slam doesn't generally give him enough distance, and if you force him to go to dive you and force him behind your minions, then it further limits his escape potential because he then has to get back to his turret. So he's going to have a difficult time if he doesn't play smart and allows himself to be ganked in terms of that. But anyway, how do you think these teams are going to go, man?
I'm not quite sure. Hey, this is going to be interesting. I'm
Yeah,
at that
definitely.
point for that. I favor Gragas right here so much further over Skarner, really, for me.
Yeah, I'm definitely favoring T-Storm, not just because I really liked how well they did in first game, but just because their team composition. Trundle's definitely going to have a hard time trying to really harass him down. Just because while Trundle has King's Resolve, not Vladimir has the pull, which scales off spell vamp, heals him over time, just as Resolve's heal over time is based on entities or opponents dying within the area. It heals him a small amount for that. So I'm looking forward to this game, though. I feel like we're going to see some great stuff. And we're into a pause.
Oh, gee, I didn't expect that one. Are we playing on OCE? Or are we playing on North America? Well, I was.
When did we go into EU West?
Anyway, so whilst that one's happening, any level 1 play, I mean, you do have Vladimir, Morgana and Gragas, so there's 3 spellcasters up against the likes of Thresh.
Yeah, definitely. I personally feel like AGL really can't do a leash in this bot lane. Just because they've got the advantage of going for an early level 2. And if they can really shut down T-Storm and T-Storm Lapras and Willer's Demand, I think we'll do well to get them a bit ahead in that bot lane. And like we saw early on, in terms of that bot lane, T-Storm Lapras and Willer's Demand really did do a lot of work in that bot lane. And especially in terms of just carrying their team. They did really well to shut down their opponents and really help to rotate around with the rest of their team. So if they can shut down Lapras and Willer's Demand early on, they should do well to get ahead.
Absolutely, play is going to be resumed in a couple of seconds. Going to go down. This is our final group game for the day. Final one we'll be spectating. But after this one, what will be happening is we'll be moving on into, obviously, the seeds from each group. Only 2 teams will be moving on from all 3 groups into our group stage, and the seeds coming out of these group stages will determine which sort of brackets they're going into and who they're playing up against for the rest of the day in, obviously, the knockout rounds. And,
yes, definitely.
So, the result right here, I think it's important that that Storm and Inferno...
Are we going to see an invade to a counter invade? What? Okay, so T-Storm are looking to invade on their blue, and AGL are looking to invade on their red. So that's a thing. Obviously, T-Storm's looking around, maybe looking for an early team fight. It feels like they're looking for a really early team fight.
They wanted to fight right there.
So obviously we're going to see Willer's Demand and... So yeah, AGL are definitely looking to not miss out on any of this bot. Oh no, they're not. They were going to back, but they're not looking to back this at this stage. So yeah, no, I definitely feel like T-Storm's looking for a bit of a fight. I'm not sure what they're going for here.
AGL's bot lane has gone back. They're already halfway back to lane. But they're still looking to steal away this red buff.
Yeah, just as is T-Storm's. They're looking to guard that blue buff, but they're going to walk straight away once they've got in range of it. Ward dropped down, so there we go.
This is really interesting, actually, because they're starting on opposite sides of the jungle on the same side of the map.
Yes.
So where are they going to walk through on the way out?
I feel like we're going to see some early engages towards bot lane. I feel like AGL very well know that the bot lane duo of Will and T-Storm is quite strong together.
Oh, there's a Death Sentence already onto Willer's Demand. He takes a lot of damage coming out from AKG. Nada. And, actually, there's an early gank, a level 2 gank straight up for Angsty. He's looking towards that top lane. Puts a lot of pressure on towards Resolve. Skarner's onto this top side as well, though.